Hey everyone, Dr. Harnoor Singh. I'm a physical therapist and movement practitioner. At this point, we've laid out some of the groundwork. In the first video, we talked about neuroplasticity and how can we prevent cognitive decline. And we discussed that the best way to prevent cognitive decline is learning new movement. And then we proceeded to define stages of learning in the movement practice. We talked about the cognitive, the associative, the autonomous, and how even though our culture greatly supports and validates autonomous practitioners, it's the cognitive practitioner, the person in the beginning stages, the Shoshin mindset, that is gaining the most as far as brain activity. In this video, I wanted to talk about principles of neuroplasticity that can really help aid your growth in this field. So there's a fantastic paper that I read, and I kind of want to go through some of the principles. The paper and I suggest everyone reads it. It's written in 2008 by Kleiman Jones, and it's Principles of Experience-Dependent Neuroplasticity, Implications for Rehab After Brain Damage. So why is this paper important? What they did was they found out what are the top 10 principles in speeding up how we learn. And they used these principles in helping develop training programs for people with strokes, people who've had a brain attack where they experienced some of their brain didn't have as much blood, and then all of a sudden a part of their brain doesn't work. So then they have to relearn how to move. They have to incorporate motor learning. And we found out 10 principles that can greatly aid somebody learning something so that they learn it much faster. Although I won't be going through all 10, I do want to go through 3 that speak out to me in the moment. I do suggest check out the paper. It's something that feels like a digestible read for most people. They just go through these principles. So the first one that I want to say is that intensity matters. That's what they call it. Intensity matters. And what they talk about is that how high your heart rate is when you're learning a new skill is a fantastic way in developing the skill faster. So for somebody who might be at a resting heart rate and then they're trying to study or learn anything or learn how to juggle, they actually are at a disadvantage in trying to learn this new skill. It's because when we're at an elevated heart rate, as we go into a higher intensity, then we have much more brain power, much more ability to activate these synapses and create connections at a faster rate. So in this paper, they talk about how before they have individuals that have experienced a stroke attempt to relearn how to walk, they get their heart rate up as high as they can, and then they start teaching them. Not necessarily as high as they can, but they definitely want to increase the heart rate so that the synapses can connect faster. The second principle that I want to go through is the principle of repetition. You can imagine that there's 2 apartment buildings, and it's a snowy day and a field in between. So when a person wants to get from one apartment to the next apartment, they walk through the snow and they get to the other side and they leave some footprints. That right there is the neural pathway. Repetition matters states that then the person goes back and re-engages those same footprints. Now the footprints are a little deeper, so it's almost easier to access. Then they go back and forth in this snowy path until finally it becomes an entire path that's very easily treadable. So in that way, repetition matters, and it's something that feels obvious, but that understanding of consistently showing up and trying the reps is something that feels really exciting in making sure that you're developing the neural pathway as clean as you want. So we have 1, intensity matters. 2, repetition matters. And the third one that I want to discuss in this video that I find very exciting is saliency matters. And so what is saliency? Saliency is how much does the task mean to you? So whenever I'm working with a patient, if I tell them we're going to do some quad extensions. I want you to kick your foot out, kick your foot out. That person might be engaging in the task and doing their best. But actually the development of neural pathways, the opportunity for them to connect deeper matters on how much the person cares about the task. So I say to them, we're going to do this exercise because it's going to help you walk more. And all of a sudden walking more feels very important. So their connection to the task deepens. And so the neuroplasticity effects deepen, the neural pathways engage further. So these videos that we're talking right now, I'm developing these videos to build some neuroscience framework for you, is actually for this very reason, saliency. So that when you're now engaging in these new practices, you understand why you're doing it. You're more in tune with the practice because you have these understanding that, hey, right now I'm learning this task. I'm in the cognitive stage. I'm getting frustrated, but that's okay because this is where I'm gaining the most benefit out of. And so that mindset in itself, the salient mindset, is the ability to strengthen those connections, which is in a way for me like so circular. Like it matters to me, so I do it more. I do it more, so it matters to me. And so it just continues on. So these are 3 of the 10. All 10 are very exciting, but I think these 3 are ones that you can take home right away. We talked about intensity, repetition, and saliency, how much the task means to you to develop yourself as a practitioner.